Good morning, everyone. This is Mr. Whittle coming to you from school. If you're looking for a read aloud, today is not your video. If you're a kid looking for a read aloud, I'd click off right now because this is not going to end in that kind of fun. Today, I'm talking just to the parents and families from the elementary school to help them understand how we're progressing as we move into our digital learning phase. So if you're looking for a read aloud, not going to be your video. We'll have more of them coming out to you soon. So families, I want to talk to you a little bit about as we move into our digital learning. And I know a lot of the things I'm going to share today, you've already heard presented from Mr. Cole as he spoke to families every Wednesday. But I also wanted to reach out to you just to let you know how those things look and how they fit into the elementary school. So I'm going to take a minute here to share some information with you. So what we're looking at as we go forward is our digital learning plan. And the first thing, and this is a slide you've already seen before, is to just say that this is all new for everybody. It's new for teachers, it's new for families. The idea of trying to take a classroom that is 7 hours of a day and put it all into some digital environment with 2 weeks worth of time to get that all put together. The first thing I want to ask us all to do is take a breath and make sure we understand that we're not expecting perfection. We are honestly trying to do everything in our power to make sure that the message is pretty clear, and our teachers are doing an awesome job, and I hope we stay consistent to the idea that we're still in the middle of a pandemic. We still have people who are anywhere from dealing with changes in their life situation, dealing with family members who might maybe have fallen ill from COVID, dealing with a lack of resources, dealing with working long hours because you work in the medical field. The last thing we need is more stress coming to you from the school environment. And so when you look at our learning standards that we put in front of the community, in front of teachers, and the whole framework that we're trying to start this out on, if you ever feel that what we're asking you to do is getting in the way of loving your family, supporting your family, creating that idea of stability in this crazy time, and not giving you the flexibility to work with within the time that you have, please just reach out to your classroom teachers, because that is our goal. If we're not hitting that nail on the head, and it's going to happen from time to time because this is new for all of us, but if we're not hitting that, please just reach out and let us know, because that is our first and foremost goal in trying to work with families and help families. But we want to maintain a balance. We have some families that are home all day with kids and they're looking for lots of activities to do. We have other families that are working all day and only have a couple hours at night and need to get down to the basics of what we really are hoping to accomplish with kids. And so we're trying to meet that need for both. And so please keep those in mind as we move forward. We've come up with a schedule that we hope is going to try and create that balance for everybody. So as you look up on the screen, one of the things we're trying to say is, as we move into a classroom at the beginning of every year, we ask teachers to spend a lot of time on working on building community and creating that sense of community. We're going to do the same thing in those digital environments. So all those things of having kids have very easy interactive ways of reaching out and connecting with each other virtually through the digital Google Classroom, all those are going to be represented in our work here in the digital environment, making sure kids have some fun, engaging ways just to connect with their classmates through this digital environment. So that's represented by the first 15 minutes of tribes, learning communities. And again, as I go through these time frames, please understand that one of the things we're encouraging teachers to do is to not maybe make this a daily expectation, but maybe spread it out over the week. Have one thing that people are doing that they can log in and work around their schedules and be flexible that way. So as I say, 15 minutes a day, there's not going to necessarily be a different 15-minute activity every day. It's just going to be about, that's the idea that teachers are trying to work towards in their head as they put activities together and think about their week-long plans of what they're going to have kids engage in. The next part we have is choice reading and read aloud. If we get down to the basics of elementary school, if we get down to everything that we really need to know is happening in order to make sure kids are not losing their progress, well, we already know a lot of this. The research, so much of the research has been done based on what happens during summers when students aren't engaging in their classrooms the way they are during the school year. And what we know is students who continue to read and develop that love of reading and connection to literacy, they end up making a lot of the gains that they would have, and probably will not see a big negative impact on them if they can keep engaging in that literature. That's why we're doing the read alouds from school. That's why we're trying to send it home. That's why we have the Earl Bucks available to you in the grab and go. All of this is because we want to make sure that kids are still engaging with literature. If they're doing that, we're fighting 90% of the battle that we need to fight. And that in terms of making sure students don't fall behind and don't lose a lot of the progress they've made. So the first thing we're asking is to make sure you build in that choice reading time. What can they read? Anything. Anything. There's digital reading available to you through our website, and also through teachers' links on Google Classroom. There's certainly books that you may have in your house are absolutely fine, magazines, whatever they're doing that's going to keep their mind active, give them exposure to new vocabulary, and have them practice reading. And for those younger kids in pre-K, first grade, kindergarten, all the way up into second grade, even older if they want it. The read alouds, reading to them is a critical time, and we really encourage that if there's one thing that you need to make sure keeps happening, please make it be that. Make sure that they have that regular habit of reading in your home. The next part is our teachers are going to create some content learning experiences. Now, right now, we're not going to try and hit every subject every day. We're aiming for about 40 minutes a day of interactive work that they can do through the Google Classroom. These are going to be multidisciplinary activities that are going to include math, they're going to include science and social studies, all built in. And what we've really started with is saying, let's not try and replicate what we're doing in the classroom here digitally. Let's find the activities that make the most sense to do digitally, and the ones that are going to be most engaging to students to do digitally, and let's find them and let's get them going on those. If we stay out of school longer, we'll start to build in a lot of the core curriculum into the work that we do during this time period. We'll try to build in some of the math lessons and new content. But right now, we're just trying to say, let's get kids engaged in quality activities that are going to translate the best to a digital environment. If we can do that, we think we'll get kids engaged and working in their Google Classroom, then we'll get them moving forward. We're also going to ask our special teachers to put out some activities that will connect them to art and music and Spanish. The library has a wonderful website. Our computer lab has a fantastic website. All these resources are still there, and the teachers are going to be putting some things together. It's not going to be a lot of things. It's going to be, we're aiming for about 15 to 20 minutes of work a week from those areas, but it's really that enrichment, those ideas, the places that you can build off of to say, hey, here's a great art concept, and now you can take it and run with it at home. The last 20 minutes is we're really going to try and focus on is that idea of physical movement and play. The more we can get kids outside, the more we can get them to learn through play, the more success we're going to have. We can't pretend that, with families who have to be working from home in a digital environment and logging on to meetings, or perhaps you're not home and your child's at daycare during the day. We can't pretend it's all going to be exactly the same as school. So what we're really saying is, what is going to be the thing that's going to be most engaging to them, and that they and find those ways that we can connect that in a way that is educational. So if you can find those things that are educational and play-based, then I think that's going to be where we're going to find the most success working from home and trying to balance everything that's going on for families right now during this time that is certainly changing our expectations across the board. So our physical education teachers are going to take the lead and get some ideas out there for how do you get kids still moving, get the kids still engaged and physically active. It's going to do so much just to get them moving and active to make things better right from the beginning. So a couple ideas that I wanted to share with you for learning at home. Every teacher at every grade level is going to have lots of things there available for kids on the Google Classrooms. So those are going to be the specific ones that are really tailored to a child at that grade level in that class. Your teachers at this point, we're very fortunate at this point in the year, they know your child very well, and they'll know what sorts of things will work well for them and appeal to them. But here are some general things that may be helpful for families if you haven't already started or if you haven't thought of doing these things. the first thing I say is create a learning space. It's just important that there be a work time and when a time when they're on and when a time when they're off. And if there's a time when we know, okay, you're going to go to your computer and you're going to go head over to the table where your computer is, and maybe that's a flex thing. Maybe they work at the kitchen table and then it gets packed up when it's all done. Create a schedule, but please, when you're doing that schedule, please be flexible. Don't try and fill the whole day with activities. If you're working from home, it's okay to say, okay, we're going to work for an hour and then we're going to go play for an hour. It's absolutely fine to say that the boundaries don't have to be within a certain specific period of time. It really has to be flexible and adapt to what's going to work for you. There may be a time when you have to say, okay, mommy's got to log on to a meeting, daddy's got a meeting, so we're going to have you watch this video, and that's okay. I think sometimes the best thing you can do is just try and focus that choice in what they're watching to make sure it's going to be something that's going to be beneficial to them. And then you can work on making those times when you are actually interacting with your child to be maybe shorter blocks of time, but really meaningful blocks of time where your full focus is there for that block of time. But understanding that there's other times when you'll have to be able to say, okay, you're going to work independently now because I have my own meeting, I have to make lunch, I have other responsibilities that I have to take care of. It's okay to include fun activities. I think we don't always think of things we always think of things of school and we have to recreate school at home. And what I would encourage you is to do the opposite and say, what are the things that maybe we don't always get a chance to do because of the busyness of our lives and running from school to sports and practices and activities. So what are those things that we don't often have time to do? So I'm thinking of puzzles or creative building of things and have those long-term projects going that a kid can keep going back to, and there's a natural interest. Get outside and explore nature. Go find things. Get that, one of the wonderful parts about the timing right now is spring is there and you're seeing so much change right now in nature. Let them get outside and be a part of that and see that. Are there movies that have some historical value that you know of that you think would be a great thing? It's okay to say, we need a little break, but here's a great movie that I think it would be really good for you to watch because you're going to learn a lot from it. There's so many things from some of the content that we've known and loved forever. For our younger students, Sesame Street, PBS Kids, they are all these organizations are going out of their way to try and put things out to help younger students understand how to think about things in this environment from a kid-centered way. So I'd encourage you to go to those websites, and it's okay. It also gives you a block of time that just, if your child enjoys watching Sesame Street, it's a quality program that's going to give some educational value. There's research behind the fact that what they learn on the letters and things, especially for our youngest students, is going to stick with them. And so it's okay to let somebody else who's done some of that research do the work for you a little bit. Some of the other things that I can think of is this is a great time to reach out to family and friends. Maybe it's a time to start a project where they call different relatives in the family and ask them questions about what they did for work. What did grandma and grandpa do? Talk about who's the grandma and grandpa's parents and get to understand a little bit of their family history. Everything of this is different for families based on who you know would be available and who would be open and willing to having a phone conversation or a FaceTime conversation. But those things can be things that we just don't have time to do during the normal hustle and bustle of our lives that might be perfectly appropriate in this time, and also give you ways so that it's not all on you as the parent to try and come up with every activity and be responsible for every activity. If you know family members that are sitting at home right now and don't have other people to connect to all the time, they might love to have a phone conversation once a week or once a day even, and take 15 minutes to really just connect with your child and let them ask different questions and let them get to know that family member a little bit better. So I encourage you to consider some of those ideas. Another thing would be cooking. So much of our time now is focused on getting ready for the next meal, and I think it's important to let kids be a part of that and let them help prepare their own meals. And I think that is definitely a way that we can foster some independence and also teach them some of those skills. If you happen to be measuring and baking or cooking, you're going to use the math skills that you would need to get the right quantities into your ingredients. And I think those are just great skills for kids to have in general. So again, if we go to those big ideas, learning through play, what is fun? Don't try to replicate school. I think the best idea is to say, if there's something that you want your kid to learn about, what is a way that you can do that through play? Get outside. I think there's so much benefit to just getting out into the fresh air, running around and having that time to go play, kick a ball around, simple things that just can really help get people's focus out of being in the house all the time. Please make sure students read. I've said that at the beginning, and I want to make sure we're closing with that as well. It is just the best thing that we can do to make sure that our kids don't slide behind. When we had more time to prepare for the summers, we always give you the reading logs with the summer, 70-step summer. We would really ask that you keep those reading logs going and keep tracking that time, because it'll just keep kids understanding that, yep, both school and family, we all understand and believe in the importance of reading in terms of building your vocabulary, in terms of getting you exposed to all sorts of things. But then again, let them have some freedom in that. If they want to read about sports people, if they want to read about real things of how to do things and how to build something, that's awesome. And let them have a lot of choice and a lot of freedom in what they read. And don't let digital learning become stressful. There will be a time when the links won't work and we're trying to turn in an assignment and it's not going to work. It's new for our teachers. It's new for you as families. So please, I'm going to just ask 1,000 times over, if you start getting to that point where the system is frustrating you and you can't figure out how to turn it in and you're trying to do everything, take that breath, take a break. Nothing that we're asking you to do right now is so critical that it's worth the time and health of your family. So please just take a breath, say, you know what, we're going to put this aside. I'm going to reach out to your teacher, Mrs. So-and-so, and I'm going to figure out why this link isn't working, why we can't log into the assignment, and we'll take care of it tomorrow. Please give yourself that grace and flexibility to know that there's nothing that can't wait a day. And there's nothing that we're going to be missing that's going to cause kids to fall behind in any given day. All we're asking is that we do our best to try and get kids engaging in those classroom activities to keep them getting some sort of educational content into their day. But please don't think any one activity or any one thing that we're asking of students becomes something that needs to be a stress for your family. If it is, please reach out to your teachers. I've had conversations with all the teachers, and they get it too. They're trying to set up Google Classrooms while managing their own families and everything that's going on in this pandemic. So if it's starting to feel stressful, please reach out and let them know, and they can help you and support you and let you know what things are critical and what things can wait. Some things that are going on, just in case you haven't seen them, I'm doing weekly several read-alouds a week, so you can get those off of it's put on the elementary school page on Facebook. It's also put on the website under the COVID area, under learning experiences and announcements. So if your kids would like to see some read-alouds from Mr. Whittle, they're there for you to see. We have all of our district digital resources still in place. So they're available through ClassLink. If you're with one login, your child can have access to almost all of them. And other ones would be available through your child's teacher. So some of the ones that I'm thinking of, and these are just a few, there's a ton of resources out there, but I'm ready for easy ELA and math lessons that are really based on your child's assessment. It'd be an easy thing for you to have your child do. With the American Reading Company, ERLA has the bookshelf with digital books available to you. Our library has a ton of links and resources off of the school webpage, so please feel free to check those out. The computer lab also has a ton of resources and things that are already set up and meant to be done in a digital environment. Please, I encourage you to check those sites out if you're looking for more activities, if your child is starting to get bored and saying, what else can I do? And again, if you have any questions, any concerns about how things are going, please reach out to your child's teacher. If we don't know, we can't fix it. And our commitment is to not overwhelm families, but to do everything we can to make sure that you have the support that you need. So please reach out, let us know if there's anything we can do to help you. Chromebooks. Some Chromebooks have already gone out to many families. We're doing those through the grab and go, but we wanted to make sure that everybody knows that you can't just show up and ask for a Chromebook. We want those done through reservations because we sign them out specifically to a child, and there is a full process of getting those Chromebooks deployed to make sure they have all the resources available for the child of that specific age level. If you need a Chromebook, please either call into the school number and go to choice 2, and you can let them know that you need one, and they will send you an email when it's ready to be picked up, and you can pick it up Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 1:30 through the grab and go meal program area over at the high school. So just drive up past the elementary school, go past the high school and around the corner, and the people will direct you to where to go. If for some reason you're working and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 to 10:30 to 1 is not going to be possible for you to get there, then please just let us know when you call in, and we'll contact you to try and make other arrangements. And here you see the visual of where the tent is and where we would go for all those pickups. We are asking that you bring in ID just so we can make sure that we're getting the Chromebooks to the right person, because once they're signed out to your child, then they would be expected, as any other school material, to be returned at the end of the school year. So. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. I know we miss you all. We probably be so much easier for everybody if we could all just be in our school buildings, but we know that we need to do everything in our power to make sure that we stay safe and we keep from spreading COVID throughout our community. And so we'll do everything we can to make sure that we are supporting you through this digital learning process. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out through the school number or through email to either your child's teacher or to me, and we'll be happy to help in any way we can. Stay safe, everybody. We'll see you soon, and thank you so much.